Hey guys, today we're going to talk about something a little bit different. I recently replaced the power supply in my TrueNAS system, and we're going to talk about whether or not it was worth it. So as many of my subscribers might know, my current TrueNAS build is a bit of a Frankensteinian freemium build. It's comprised entirely of parts that I've salvaged out of other computers over the years, or bought second hand. One of the parts that I've repurposed many times is this ancient 700 watt bronze rated power supply that comes from a manufacturer I don't even recognize anymore, and I desperately wanted to get rid of this. One of the reasons I wanted to get rid of this particular power supply is the bronze rating means it's not especially efficient. The TrueNAS system is running 24/7, and you can see here that it consumes about 83, 84, maybe 85 kilowatt hours every 30 days. The cost of power here in Ireland averages about 19 cents per kilowatt hour, so I'm spending about 16 euros running this every 30 days. That I think is about $18 for my American friends. The other reason is a lot more practical. The capacitors in that particular power supply are at least 15 years old at this stage and probably reaching the end of their reliable lifespan. I therefore don't particularly want to trust them because there's a not insignificant risk that they might cause a fire if they short it out. Even if you think that that's maybe overreacting a little bit, the chance that the power supply itself would start to fail is becoming unacceptably high. So I replaced it with this Corsair SFX platinum rated 750 watt power supply. Replacing the old power supply with the new one took me about 60 minutes, so I was back up and running again very quickly. Some of you will be wondering why I chose an SFX power supply, a small form factor power supply, when the case has plenty of room for the original FX power supply. The answer is really straightforward. I have some other machines that also use SFX power supplies. And what's really convenient with having multiple machines using the same form factor of power supply is you can swap out the supplies if one of them fails. So for example, if the power supply in my main daily driver computer fails, I could take the power supply out of my TrueNAS build and pop it into my computer and be back up and running without my TrueNAS system for a few days. If I was ever in a bind, it's convenient to have a lot of spare parts around like that. I then used the system as normal for the last 30 days and came back and looked at my power savings. I was not sure what my actual real-world saving would be because I wasn't able to really fully translate the difference between the energy efficiency in a platinum supply from a 15-year-old bronze supply, but I was pleasantly surprised to find that I was using about 10 to 12 kilowatt hours less in the last 30 days. That seems to me to be quite reasonable. So was it worth it? Do I recommend that you go out and buy a new power supply to replace the aging one in your TrueNAS system? Well, maybe. The average cost of a kilowatt hour here in Ireland is about 19 cents, so my overall savings per month is about €2.30, which is about $2.50. So every month I'm saving maybe 27 euros, which is maybe $30. Considering I spent 130 euros on the power supply itself, it will take about 4 years for me to pay it off. Given the rising cost of energy worldwide, that might be a little bit less in the future, who knows. Overall, I'm still quite pleased that I've replaced the power supply. I think the safety aspect of the aging capacitors is a big factor for me, and maybe it would make a lot more sense for you if you live in an area where electricity is very expensive and you have a similar setup. Otherwise, it might not make sense if you've put in a power supply that's a bit newer, something in maybe the last 5 years. So that's it, guys. Thank you for joining me on this journey where I replaced my aging power supply in my TrueNAS system. If you enjoy this content and want to catch the rest of my content, then please consider doing the YouTube dance, which is to subscribe, maybe throw down a like or a comment, especially if you've done something similar yourself. Otherwise, I will catch you guys on the flip side.